All right, there you are. Welcome to Get Going Fast, yo. So, welcome to the live stream. Hopefully, the volume is working this time. Last week, or I guess that was Monday. God, time goes so fast. 3 days seems like a week. Week seems like 3 days. We had the volume off, so I'm gonna just do my typical check over here to make sure that we are properly streaming. Because how silly would I feel if we were streaming, we weren't streaming, and I thought we was. No bueno. And there we go. I'll put these headphones on just to... Oh, there it is. All right, good. Everything seems to be good. Okay. Let's go ahead and close this bad boy out. All right, so we'll see if people pop in or not. Very good to see. Oh, I'm looking at some other technical stuff here. I messed up. It's all good. Some of this live streaming stuff, it's all new to me. I've appreciated you guys that come in and get into this because it's pretty cool once we get it going. Let's start a timer on this. Okay, there we go. Blah. All right, well, this week we are just completely into Framepack. And Framepack is just so extra cool. Okay, oops, I'm showing you the behind the scene details here. We did a video. Oh, that's something different. Good Lord. I'm all over the place here. We did a video here on Framepack just yesterday. So this is actually quite comprehensive. We talk about how to use the Framepack. We talk about how to install. It is really actually a very easy install. Just all you got to do is really go to the repository and download it and extract it and run it. But I understand there are people out there that just feel more comfortable getting it from Get Going Fast, and so you can do that. We've accommodated that obviously for you guys. And we did 3 installs, and we talk about them actually in the video. But the first one, of course, is that base install. And that's the easiest. I mean, really all you do is go to the website and download it. But we created a self-extracting exe where all you just tell it where you want to install or extract. It extracts, runs the installer. I mean, it is the absolute easiest there. The manual installer actually has the accelerators. So you'll notice up here it talks about includes Flash Attention, Sage Attention, Xformers. The base one here, this easiest one, does not have those in there. Those become more particular for your system. So depending on which Python you have, which CUDA you have. So this really is a manual install for our Get Going Fast homies that have followed our guidelines upon saying you need to have Python 3.10 installed. You know, you need to have CUDA 12.6 or 12.8 installed on there as well. So very particular manner. But what those, well, we'll come back. But that has what these don't have. So that's a little bit a speedier thing, can help with the quality of your image. And then we put up here the Linux manual install, which comes in a .sh file. So it's a Linux script file. So if you know how to do Linux, then you know how to use that file. And by the way, that file should be completely fine to use. Now, one thing you guys might not know about, just kind of on a side note, a little bit of an interesting thing here, is that when you create a Linux file in Windows, so like I create a text file and I put some Linux code into it, and then I rename it as a .sh file, because that's a Windows scripting file. Now, you think, oh, well, that's great. Okay, there's the Linux file. Well, when you actually get over to Linux, that file will not directly work. And so you have to use something that's called DOS to Unix. And you do that through typing in a command. You type sudo, which is kind of giving it administrator permissions. And you type sudo apt DOS to Unix. And that actually will install DOS to Unix on your Linux thing there, and then you use DOS to Unix to convert this file, because how Windows works and how Linux works is a different file structure. So it's the way that it stores data are are different. Okay, they're different frameworks. There's another word for it, but basically, there's different frameworks on how they work. So it'd be like saying, I work in metric and you work in what's the imperial or whatever it is. So we're gonna talk centimeters versus whatever. See, I'm too stupid to even know all these words. But the bottom line is, pounds versus kilograms, that kind of thing. So we're talking basically the same stuff, but it's different. So like when you go to store a file on a Windows system, it won't make sense to the Unix system. So we convert it. Bing, 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 bing. DOS to Unix. But that's the point of all that long tirade was that this has actually already been DOS to Unix for you. Okay. So Framepack is totally off the wall awesome. Let's go over to Reddit. See what kind of Reddit stuff. Man, I almost hate to take you over here. Reddit is just a hive of villainy and scum. But let's do some Framepack searching here. And this is... this guy said, just tried Framepack. It's over for gooners. Let's see some of the stuff people worked on. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's great. So this person probably has a high VRAM. I'm kind of curious to see what they have. Oh, these are generated with a 3090. Look at that, 24 gigabytes. So that's great. So obviously he generated these with with Flux or something like that. And these are all still images that are brought to life. Framepack is incredible. So it is based off of Hunyuan, like we've talked about. So it's not like it's a brand new model. It's not like they're saying, oh man, they came out with this thing. You can do this stuff with Hunyuan. You can do this stuff with Wan 2.1. But the point is that it's so easy to do. And it's so consistent. I mean, look at these videos. Each one of these is consistent. In the old days, you'd have like a finger coming out of the head or just relics. The background is changing. This does not. This stays. Look at, there's not people flickering in and out on that thing. It's just incredible. So Framepack really brought it in for the normie. And that's what I was saying during a lot of my video is that... that's what I was saying during my video, is that this has really just made it an ease of use for everyone. So if you want to get into doing video generation, Framepack is a great place to do it. You just got to download it and run it. The app looks like this, and it's so simple. So you don't have to use Comfy UI. I know Comfy UI is so confusing for a lot of people. Really, all you got to do is grab an image. Let's see here. Grab an image, prompt it, and throw it in, and we'll say, I don't know. Actually, let's go. I like going to ChatGPT. Let's just go ChatGPT. Let's say, create an image prompt of a woman in a flowing red dress standing by the river in a moonlight. Hey, there's Wallace 34. Hey, yo, what's up, dude? Welcome here. And looks like Wallace just sent us gifts. So that is just wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. We're going to give you a whole bunch of hundreds here, a whole bunch of hearts. And I did say I would woot woot on TV. So, woot woot! Hell, we're doing the roof dance here for Wallace. Appreciate you, man. That keeps us going. So that is a huge blessing. So God bless you, Wallace. You got any questions you want to chat about right now? Oh, we see Todd Vollmer has come in. Hello, Todd. Welcome. We're sitting here for a minute. We're going to take some questions. We're talking about getting going with... Wallace is laughing at me. Appreciate you very much. Where are you from, Wallace? It looks like you're probably from the UK. But anyway, what we're doing right now is we're just going through here and we're getting some prompts going for Framepack. We're going to see if I can get something going on here. And, but anyway, what I said, so we've got our thing over here. We threw in this image. You know, honestly, Framepack is so easy that you could literally just do something like dancing. I bet you, I'm going to try it. I'm going to put dancing on here, and I'm going to click Start Generation. Let's just see what it does. Now, I hope that this doesn't crap out my system, because I have a lot of AI stuff going on in the back so that we can have this background. I know it's a shock to you guys. I know you're going to blow your mind, but I'm not actually in this room. This is all AI generated, and it takes kind of a lot of juice to do that. So, okay, Wallace says he's from London. Well, good on you, mate. Good to chat you up. Always love our Palmy friends over there. So anyway, so we're going to run this, and let's see how it goes. Now, the interesting thing about this is, as we talked, you can see it starting to generate already up here. It actually starts at the end of the video. So it creates the end part. In fact, it says down here, note that the ending actions will be generated before the starting actions due to the inverted sampling. If the starting action is not in the video, you just need to wait and it will be generated later. So what it's doing is it's setting the framework. It's saying, okay, because I'm managing, this app is managing the resources so tightly, what it's doing is it's saying, we are not going past this point. This is the final point that we're going past. We're not going it. So it generates that, and then it goes and it backfills in there as well. And as well, I think that's also why you get such a smooth transition. When you go back and we look at these things, again, notice that this chick here, the background's not changing. Those clouds are staying the same. There's not a third arm coming in. So it's saying we're going to end with a consistent image, and then we're going to start with a consistent image, and then everything else there, it's easier for it to find its way to where it needs to go. Just an incredible thing here. Let's see. Here's open source frame. It looks like the Pope and Goku. Look at that. I mean, that's incredible. And again, notice the moon isn't changing. The background is, but now I'm going to tell you something interesting. We kind of got off track here. I mentioned earlier, this is because of, a lot of this is going to be having to do with what's called an attention mask. So if we go back over to the Get Going Fast page over here, and we talked about the different installs we got the easiest, the most stable one here. And it says here that this is using the PyTorch, but it doesn't have the accelerators or the attention masks. Okay, so it's still awesome, but this is where these things like this Flash Attention, Sage Attention, Xformers come in. When we get over to this, how those work, they're called attention masks. So they're saying pay attention to the important parts of the video. So think about like in your own mind, like you're sitting there going, oh God, I'm sitting at my computer and I've got so much to do today. The dog has to go for a walk, and I've got crumb, I've got crumbs on the table or old coffee cups, and I've got to call this person, and I've got this, and my back hurts, and you got all this stuff, and you need to focus. And so what you do is you set your attention, say, what's the most important thing right now that needs to be done? Okay. And so what we do is you say, okay, I'm going to forget about the dog for a second, not worry about the coffee cups. I need to get this email out. This is time sensitive. And so we set our own attention mask and we just focus on that. Now these videos do the same sort of thing. They say, okay, look at this. They look at this and say, what's the most important parts? Now I want you to notice, if we could draw a line over this, let's say we just drew out the Pope here, okay? And then we drew over Goku. Okay, that would still leave an enormous amount of, well, not enormous, but a large amount of the video that is unchanged. Okay, so notice while you're watching this, you see the action, but look at all the non-action that's taking place. Look at all the stuff that doesn't change at all. Okay, that's what the attention mask does. So the attention mask is able to recognize the parts that don't need to change, and it says, okay, those are the coffee cups, that's the crumbs, that's the dog needing for a walk. It's like it's we got to just focus on this other stuff, so it can take resources and focus on Goku and the Pope here. All right, you don't need to create this 80 different times because it never changes, and that's what these things do. That's what Flash Attention, Sage Attention, Xformers does for us. And that's why it speeds it up. So actually, when you're doing stuff, and you might say, like on my computer, I can only do 80 frames without getting an out of, it's called an error. It's like get punched in the stomach. You're like, so I can only do 80 frames. But then you use an attention mask, and all of a sudden you're like, oh crud, man, I'm doing 140 frames all of a sudden. And that's because the resource is better used. Now, so again, the installer's up here. This is the easiest absolute way, but it doesn't have these high ones. And the reason it doesn't have these bigger attention masks is because they're really dependent upon your system setup. So let's actually look at one of these. Let's see if we can find some wheels. They're called wheels. Well, okay, so sometimes you'll find pages that have lists of them, but you'll see on here it says CP310. This is for Python 310. If you're running Python 311, it's not going to work. It's going to say, oh, well, this doesn't work for this. I need 310. I want to find one of the, here's a bunch of them, okay? So look at, these are all different versions. This for CUDA 12.4, there's for CUDA 12.6. You see that? So they depend on you think. That's why I believe that when we go over to these installer things, the quick, easy one doesn't have these because it would just be too much. Like everybody can run Torch. He runs a Python install in the download folder, that we downloaded and we're running, that can run the basic Python that we need, but he can't force everyone to have the same CUDA. He can't force everyone to have the same sort of thing. So he says, okay, here's the basic one, and if you really want to add them, these are what they are, and go out and figure out and get them done. Which is again why we have on the Get Going Fast page the manual ones, because what we do with Get Going Fast is go to disclaimer.getgoingfast.pro, is we remind people that the tools on the site are optimized for Windows, NVIDIA GPUs, and that it's not a fully automated solution. Some personal effort is required. And that's why, because we want stuff to run the fastest. We want stuff to run the best. We want you guys, I want you guys to do it, but it stems from a place of myself wanting to do this. I want stuff to run easy. I want to run fast. I want to create a lot of stuff. And I know that you do too. And so we say this is our Get Going Fast solutions, so that then when we're going to run Framepack, it can look at that. See, that was just one word. So now my system was set up with the correct CUDA. My system was set up with the right Python. I didn't even aggressively prompt that. We were going over here to ChatGPT, and I was getting ready to get a big prompt, and then it's like, we did that. Look at that's beautiful. The wolf is walking around. I'll tell you what, I did a big one at one point, and the wolf didn't even move around that much. That's gorgeous. Okay, now look at, looks like there's a little arm issue there. Okay, so all of a sudden her arm grows, but still, that's not that bad. And honestly, if you really wanted to fix it, you go down here to your steps, and you could change your steps up to 30 or 40, and then it'll probably fix that error. So steps, again, are kind of like rough draft. We talk about that in the video. I'm going to turn in my my paper for the teacher, for the professor, and am I going to go over it once? Am I going to go over it twice? Maybe I'm going to go over it 5 times and really be catching everything. But the more time I spend going over it, the longer it takes. Okay, let's go through here. Malcolm is here. It's always good to see Malcolm. Malcolm has been a faithful friend of the community here for a long time. says, it took me 30 minutes to produce a 5-second video of size 704 by 544. I'm not even seeing where you set the size. Okay. And that is with a 12-core 3060 12 gigabyte and 32 gigabytes of RAM. The GPU inference preserved memory was set at 16. So that obviously is a very long time to get that going. I would curious if you had all of the attention masks going. The issue that he's going to be having here is the 12 gigabytes. So let's go over to the Framepack repository. We'll grab Elias Veal. I should just get a hat that says Elias Veal on it. I mean, this guy is so amazing. So in here it says, okay, Framepack can process a very large number of frames with 13 billion parameter models, which is huge. Requirements 30, 40, 50 series that support FP16, F16, the GTX 10 and 20 versions are not tested. Okay. What is it? So Malcolm is well within that. And it says at least 6 gigabytes of memory. Now, and then it goes on to generate 1-minute video at 30 frames per second using 13 billion model. The minimum required GPU is 6 gigabytes. So here's the deal. Here's what's going on. He's not making claims about how fast it is. He's making claims that it can do it. Okay? So on one hand, you could be like, well, okay, so fine. So great, I can do it, but I got to wait 30 minutes for a video. Yeah. But what he's claiming is that before this, you couldn't even do that. So if you really want to play around, you know, what I typically like to do is I queue these things up, you know. There is a comfy UI version of this you can play with. Queue up 10 things and then go visit grandma. And then by the time you come back, you've got them. But the point here is we're getting into a realm where it's accessible to people. And that is awesome. So I don't know if you guys know SD Forge. SD Forge is a fantastic image. Let's go to this one just so you can see a picture of it. This is a great page, by the way, this Stable Diffusion Art. This guy is like really awesome. But SD Forge, where did we go? Okay, that didn't work. Is a very good image generator. Elias Veal made this as well. And again, it was just a way that all of a sudden normies, boy, we're not finding any love here. I want to find images. That normies can get into the game. And that's really what we're doing here. So it's like, you're right. It could take you a long time to do something, but you can do it. Whereas before you couldn't. Elias Veal is also the one that created Focus. It gets 3 O's. Same thing. Listen, you can run this at 8 gigabytes down to 6 gigabytes. People that get brand new computers, I tell them get Focus. And you can do stuff. So Framepack is along this line. It's it's bringing it to the masses. And then you know what happens after SD Forge or Focus? People come up with Swarm UI. People come out with, you know, Comfy UI. So he's really set a benchmark. This is my opinion. He has set a benchmark. It's like everyone's sitting there and they're, you know, it's old English, you know, whatever. They're all drinking out of their big mugs, and then he comes in with the big mug and goes boom, right? This is a Crocodile Dundee. And he goes, that's not a knife. This is a knife. So he's really set a framework for saying, here's what a solid program looks like. And then everyone is going to be like, holy crap. And then they're going to go out and build on top of it. Okay. Let's take a break here. Let me look for a few other videos we can look at. Do you guys have any questions? We can also veer off of Framepack. Wow, that's beautiful. Look at that. We can also veer off of Framepack if you want. So this was made... This is a minute long. This is a 60-second video. So this is kind of doing what I found is that when you do these longer ones, it can do it, but it kind of just repeats itself a lot. But here's the thing again, going back to the idea that you can do it. Even if you're running a 6 GB card, you might have to wait 2 hours for it, but you're not going to run out of memory waiting for this thing to happen. Well, that's cool. I mean, to me, this is magic. I mean, this. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm waiting to see if what they prompted that with. Anyway, yeah, that was odd. That guy only gets 10. That guy only gets 10 ups for that. That was amazing. Reddit is such a bunch of scumbags. It's so funny. That should be worth thousands. That's incredible. Beautiful. Okay. Let's go back and run one more. Okay, so of course this has a not safe for work element to it. That's coming from the Hunyuan side of things. So you can do whatever you want with it, and it is not censored. That's up to you. I'll show you. Well, here you get little ideas of stuff. Like here you can see the clothes start to go up. So that's a little bit of a, I call this a ghost. And ghost flirting, I guess, is how you would look at that. But obviously you can use your imagination to imagine that you could do more with that. And that was just a still image, started like that. So, okay, we got to cover it all, right? Trying to think what else we can show you here before we beg out. Again, if you got any questions, be sure to answer it. Let's try this image. Let's see what this does. Let's just go electric diodes blinking. Computer generated. I don't know what that would. You know what we could do here? Watch this. You want to see how cool ChatGPT is? Let's copy this image and let's go over to ChatGPT. And let's say, give me an I2V prompt for this. Something fun and cool. And I'm going to actually just paste it into ChatGPT. Now I pay $20 a month so that I can do this kind of stuff. But this is incredible. ChatGPT is going to actually break that down. A curious young coder sits at his desk mesmerized by a glowing digital muse emerging from the screen. ChatGPT is amazing. I mean, honestly, my favorite technology is ChatGPT. I don't know. You guys probably know that I'm a chatbot. God, that is so good. I'm a chatbot dude. Love chatbots. What you can do with ChatGPT is mind-boggling. Okay, so let's run that in there. That's a 5-second video. Now, obviously, if I change the length up, it's going to take longer to do. But like I said, you could do it because the size isn't the issue. The resources used will remain the same regardless. But of course, it takes longer to. Okay, let's go see what Malcolm says over here. Malcolm says it produces some interesting, good videos. It might get faster in the future. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Someone's going to take this. I mean, Elias Veal, he did something great. And people are just going to improve on it. It's funny, last week High Dream came out. High Dream came out, and so did this Uno Flux. And they're both just going to get totally lost by Framepack. So this guy says he did that with 6 gigabytes. So, you know, that's not completely awesome, but it's still awesome, right? Let's see what else. Hey, look, there's my video. This guy used a hyper realistic thing. Wow, okay, that's cool. This has got to be using Flux LoRa's to get these realistic a video looking thing, because those look like real video, real images. We'll give that guy a thumbs up. Yeah, that's... Oh, here. Okay, oh, you can see over here. So it's not done, but it did the final thing. One of the things that I'll do is you can look at the final frames because it is the end, because it does start with the end. If the end doesn't look good or isn't moving well, then you can probably get an idea that the whole thing probably isn't moving well. And then you can just abort it by clicking End Generation. Here is an interesting one. I threw this out. I created this image with a Laura of myself, so I'm not that scuzzy looking. I'm close to that scuzzy looking, but not completely that scuzzy looking. But this was created with a Laura. I took 20 not so great quality images of myself, threw it into Flux Gym, created a Laura, and then I can just go in there and I can say, hey, create an image, of me doing this. And then, so anyways, I got the main image, and then I threw this into Framepack. Now, like you'll notice, as I said, it kind of does a lot of the same stuff. Takes a drink. The tab there is on the back, so that's kind of weird. But you get these longer ones, and they just kind of are it just kind of feels like it's on a repeat, but still amazing quality. Let's throw this one in here. I think this is just a 4-second video of it. Yeah, that's cool. This is neat. Again, you notice all the things that aren't moving, but notice that that shield is kind of shaking. That's kind of cool. Now, again, like what I was talking about with the end parts getting done, say you were creating this image, and the last 2 seconds, you start here, let's say, which we did. You start there, and let's say at the very end, it still looked like that. You'd know, like, well, it didn't really do anything. So it might be a good opportunity just to cancel and start over. And then you would just change out the seed. It always starts at, I don't know why he didn't do this random. He always starts it at 31337. You know why? Because it says elite. You guys know what elite? Have you ever heard of elite before? Elite is a language that uses numbers and symbols to me. So this is actually an E. That's an L. Oops. The 3s are 2 E's, and then that's a T. So the way that you spell leet is 1337. That's leet, which is the name of the language. So he's saying that his app is elite. That's why he put 31337. That's funny. Check it out, man. We could go to, while we're waiting for that to finish, let's go to ChatGPT and say, speak to me only in leet from here on out. Okay. There it is. So check it out. Absolutely, my dude. Leet mode activated. What's next? Isn't that hilarious? The 4 is an A. Absolutely, my dude. Leet mode activated. Let's say, tell me a dirty limerick. A woman from Netherlands shore couldn't help but... Oh, beg for more. She, with a wink and a smirk, she said... What is that? It's got to work. And bounced her way across the floor. Something like that. Hee 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 hee. So that's elite. Just a little side note. You learn something every day, yo. Maybe we should do a video on elite. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Just waiting for this video to finish. Do you guys have any questions? Anything you want to know about Framepack? It really is as simple as getting your video and putting it in there. Okay? You can always bring your steps down to make it a little easier. I wouldn't really mess with any of this stuff. Like I said, they got the Comfy UI installation. I haven't put a Comfy UI install up here, but I do teach you in the video how to do it. The video can be found over here. Yep, this one here. So, oh, by the way, what did you guys think about, on a side note, I was thinking about starting to do more things like this, putting images of the outside while we're doing. Did you like that? Was that kind of interesting? Okay, so let's go over here to our. Oh, that finished. We're gonna, Malcolm asked a question. I'm going to answer him in a second. Okay, this is really nice. Look at how smoothly that hand moves. I like the blue glow. That's cool. And it does save this to an output folder, by the way. So if you forget to save it, you just go to the place where it's installed, and there's a folder called output. All right, so Malcolm says, if I add another 32 gigabytes of RAM to my system, would this help? So my take on just plain computer memory, non VRAM, is that not really. So it helps with your system when you're multitasking, you know. So like it says, I'm opening up Chrome browser and I'm opening up Windows, Microsoft documents, and I'm doing, it keeps those things in there. So the general running of multiple applications, that's where your CPU memory is good. When it comes to creating stuff, generation, it doesn't really make a difference because it's using the VRAM stuff. And there's a reason for it. I'm not completely clear, but I think it actually has to do with what are called tuples. And tuples are like basically, say like I had a little thing like this, and inside I have a number, and then I have another number. And those are tuples, okay? And video cards are made to deal with tuples. And AI software has to do with tuples. And so upping your CPU RAM, it feels good, and it can make your computers work better when you hit the start menu or when you're opening browsers. But it's not really going to help a lot with your AI generation. So again, I'm not going to say don't do that, because anything you're going to do to improve your computer is going to be great. It's going to make you feel better. But is it going to speed up your AI generation? Probably not. Best thing to do is save money, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know, and I could be wrong. I'm not a hardware guy. I'm a software guy. I'm a get going fast guy, But in my opinion, the best thing to do is save up your money, get better video cards. The 3090 is awesome, but I think it's a lot of money. I got a buddy. I think he's got a 3070. Maybe he's got a 4020. No, I've got a 49. I don't know. Anyways, 3090 is just an awesome card. If you can afford a 4090, go for it. So Malcolm asks, what spec is your PC? So I have the highest end PC that I could have bought at the time. I bought it a year ago, and I took my nest egg and bought it. But it was a lot of money, and so I have 128 megabytes of just plain computer memory. Then I have a 4090 video card, which is running 24 gigabytes of VRAM, but also has a lot of threads. So sometimes you get the VRAM, some could have like the same amount of VRAM as something else, but it has more threads. So it can actually, even though it can do stuff, it can actually do a little faster. So I have a 4090. What do I have? I don't know. I'm not a hardware guy. I just know that I went out there and I bought the best I could get at the time. But I'm running a 4090, 24 gigabytes VRAM, 128 megabytes of memory, and excellent CPU. I'm just throwing a brain fart here trying to remember my CPU. But it's good. I'm quite happy with it. It should last me for some time. And I think what they're going to do in the future, I'm excited about this. If I had $3,000, I would probably play with one of these things. These Blackwell computers, they came out, and They got a $3,000 computer that evidently has like 100 some gigabytes of VRAM, but there's a caveat. You know, it's not exactly 100 gigabytes of VRAM, and you get locked into a system. But hey, you know what? If I could triple my my generation ability, I don't care if I get locked into something. You know, it's like, that would be very cool. All right. Okay, I think we're going to end it up here. I think I've talked this into the ground. So the main thing is go play with your Framepack. Create a 4-second video, create a 10-second video, create a 60-second video. Let me know how that goes. I would love to hear that. If you generate stuff, send me stuff by Saturday, and if it's cool, I'll pick the best. If I get a few of them and they're good stuff, I'll share them on Monday during our next live session. So I'm still at family's house today, so I have not been on the computer as much, but I will be home in the next few days, and looking forward to connecting with you again by next week and popping up with our next week's flagship project. So you guys stay in there. I want to shout out again for Wallace34. Wallace, thank you so much for your gift that keeps me going. I do this full time, so all you guys supporting is a big blessing to keep going. All right, we're going to leave you there. So you guys have a good day. God bless you, and we will catch